Hello, and thank you for joining us, Blue Hornet's 2014 Consumer Views of Email Marketing Webinar Series. I'm Emily Strasberg, Email Marketing Manager at Blue Hornet. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. First, please submit any questions you have during the presentation using your chat window. We will be answering all questions at the end of the webinar. Next, this webinar will be recorded, and we will send out the recording and slide presentation for you to download in the next few days. Now let's get started. For the third consecutive year, Blue Hornet has surveyed more than 1,000 consumers across the U.S. to better understand their behavior and sentiments about email marketing. Today is the fourth webinar in our six-part series, Email and Purchasing Behavior. We'll be taking a dive into the data to provide you with insights and practical recommendations for your email program based on our research. Our speakers today are Jessica Graywall, Client Services Account Director, and Brian Banks, also Client Services Account Director. Brian?
Thanks, Emily. I believe you want to also talk about something about Twitter today, a little special promotion we got going or something?
Yeah, before we get into it, we're going to be touching on this at the very end of the presentation, but at the conclusion of the webinars for the remainder of the series, we're going to be giving out our 2014 email stats topic related to our hashtag there on Twitter. If you tweet your response to Blue Hornet Email within 24 hours using that hashtag, at the end of the series, you'll be entered to win a free consultation with one of our email experts. You'll walk away with 3 to 5 tips on how to optimize your email program based on the consumer reviews that we're going to be discussing today as well as in the previous webinar series. So stay tuned for that at the very end of the presentation, and we'll give out that topic for you to tweet.
Awesome. Thanks, Emily. So, as Emily mentioned, over the course of the last 3 years, Blue Hornet has conducted consumer surveys, allowing us to couple behavioral information regarding consumer interaction with email alongside self-reported perception regarding use of the channel. In order to obtain the most comprehensive view of the data, we partnered with Flagship to survey a panel of over 1,300 customers across the U.S., ranging from 1875. We wanted to cover off on some key categories of information, including an understanding of their email habits, preferences around frequency and message relevance, the influence email has on their purchase behavior, how they interact with the email on mobile devices, and finally, the intersection of email, social, and SMS. Today, we are going to review the survey findings as it relates to purchase behavior. Then, over the course of the next 2 webinars, we'll be diving deeper on mobile behavior and social and texting. The goal of the series is to not just tell you what we found, because obviously you could read that in any of the downloadable documents, but we wanted to augment that with why marketers should care and how it impacts the approach to the channel and how to leverage the information to drive your program. A little delay on my slide thing there. All right. So as mentioned today, we'll be focusing on consumer purchase behavior as it relates to email. Our respondents provided us with why they purchase online, the reasons and influences, as well as into how they are purchasing, their pre- and post-purchase process, particularly as it relates to email and mobile. And we hope you could walk away from this webinar with some key strategies to increase conversion rate. We'll be showcasing some interesting ways to optimize the customer lifecycle and nurture your subscribers' first and subsequent purchases. We'll also be tying the survey's learnings with some cool examples of brands that execute great programs, from soup to nuts, and in our case, from email to checkout and beyond. So let's get this thing going. Let's get your creative juices flowing so you can start generating some higher revenue per email in your program. So Jess, why don't you start it off with our respondents' reasons to purchase online?
Sure, thanks Brian. So we're very excited about this particular webinar as we're always looking for new strategies to help our clients increase overall conversion rate along with average order value. So while many tactics require resources on the client side, we're going to share a combination of long-term successful campaigns along with some short-term, easy-to-implement solutions that can be considered low-hanging fruit. So with the holidays coming up, testing some of these strategies can help improve overall revenue during this important season. So as a marketer, a number of different questions come to mind when thinking about purchasing behavior within emails. So what factors do consumers consider in their decision to buy? What influences them to click through and make the purchase? And do they use a mobile device to complete the purchase? So we'll take a look at consumer purchasing behavior according to our panel and answer all of these questions while going through a couple examples. So let's take a look at the important reasons consumers consider when they are deciding to purchase online. So it's no surprise that consumers are looking for lower prices online. As stated in our last webinar, subscribers are waiting for a discount. And as we continue to move forward in this webinar series, this theme continues to take shape into the overall email habit of a subscriber. So more often than not, if subscribers feel like they are getting a better deal online, which is usually via a discount, they'll have a sense of urgency and click through to your website. And with this being said, while discounts are important, there are other considerations to think about when consumers are going through this process. So first off, when it comes to completing a purchase, there are necessary steps that a subscriber must take, one being the subscriber must click through the email. So while this can be considered a win, we also want to make sure the full website experience keeps them moving forward to the shopping cart. And second, discounts are one thing, but the overall creative is important as well. So we'll get into optimization shortly, but once you have a subscriber opening your emails, you'll want to make sure the content is relevant and entices them to click. So let's go through a couple examples that support these reasons why subscribers purchase online. As mentioned, discounts are what subscribers are looking for, and subscribers love to feel like they are getting a special discount online. So this is especially true if you have a brick and mortar store. So placing online-only wording in your subject line and content lets subscribers know that there are lower prices through this channel, which then creates more of a desire to click through. Many retailers do this. It's a great tactic to test. Something that I would recommend is trying to test online-only sales on maybe a Friday, Saturday, or early Sunday. For the most part, people tend to run their errands on the weekends. They hit the mall after school on Fridays. So they're looking for these details during the day. I test with the same deal that you would be sending any of your normal promotional discount campaigns and try another one on maybe Friday midday. With retailers especially, we've seen great results with online-only sales on Friday afternoons. And, per our last webinar about email habits, we know people are checking their smartphones at work, at school, basically all day. So our client here, PacSun, they had an online-only 20% off email, and this lets subscribers know that there's special sales going on for them. So this created a sense of urgency for those subscribers who may also enjoy to go to their brick-and-mortar location. The subscribers enticed to click. They feel like they're getting an air quote deal out of it, so it performed very well. Subscribers are also more inclined to purchase products that come in sizes if they've purchased the item before and they don't have any questions about it. So in this example, Allen Edmonds guarantees numerous sizes in stock. We think that this is a perfect example for subscribers who have already purchased. The messaging shows, their 3 most popular shoes are in stock, so targeting this to past purchasers who already know their size can definitely benefit. If you have the ability to leverage purchasing data, you can use this to encourage a second purchase. If you're a retailer, a good tactic is to use sizing charts that are clickable in your email. This will create more relevancy for the subscriber, and it may take them to the exact page they need to go, increasing the chance that they'll move forward in the purchase process.
Our friends at Indochino do a really good job at doing something similar. They sell custom tailored suits online, which kind of seems like a difficult thing to do considering all the measurements and whatnot. But they have a great purchase wizard that takes you step by step, custom feature by custom feature. Then it walks you through how to take your own measurements, sometimes with the help of a friend. But your measurements are then saved to your account, so the next time you need to buy an extra set of matching pants or another shirt or what have you, it's just a quick couple of clicks, and you don't have to go through the whole rigmarole again.
Yeah, absolutely. Another great example. Yeah. So now you know how much we love lifecycle messaging at Blue Hornet. If you're not an apparel retailer, another great example is a lifecycle series to urge subscribers to replenish their product. So by leveraging purchase dates within a subscriber profile, you can create a series that will send messages to folks when you think they're running out of their past purchase product. So in this example, Pure Buttons asks a simple question: is it time to reorder? So by studying analytics and purchase patterns, you can essentially create a series that is very relevant to subscribers and acts as a reminder to purchase again. So remember here, these are past purchasers, so this reminder may influence their decision. We've seen clients who've implemented this type of campaign see a significant increase in conversion rate along with average order value. This campaign also acts as a mechanism for reporting, so clients are able to get an idea of how many subscribers in their database are repeat purchasers. And of course, this data can be used for different series to continue the relationship.
Absolutely, and this is, again, this is a great chance to wow your customers with ease of use. Pure Buttons, as well as a number of other companies who have repeat or reorder scenarios, have one-click purchases, which allow you to complete your customized order with minimal effort. A click-through, and you're already signing into the checkout page, which kind of seems pretty obvious to a lot of marketers, but it's surprising how many companies seem hell-bent on making things more difficult than they need to be for their customers. So again, just keep it simple.
Yep. All right. Lastly, another top reason why subscribers purchase online is because the items that they're looking for are not available locally. So geolocation using city and state can be a big driver to provide relevant content and thus increase the chance of a conversion. From our last webinar, we saw that free shipping messages are huge drivers for increased purchase behaviors, especially from those subscribers who can't get the product locally. So while this example here doesn't offer free shipping, it's still a great example calling out important dates. So that important date is when a subscriber needs to purchase a product in order to get it before the holidays. These types of emails do great around the holiday season. If your brand already does something like this, we would recommend trying to segment subscribers by region to see if there's a higher conversion rate in one region or over another. So you may be able to find out and identify some additional information about subscriber habits that can help you for future campaigns.
Cool. So definitely a lot of reasons why consumers purchase online. Discounts aside, I think these results dovetail nicely with what we uncovered in the email habits section of this survey, in the sense that there is a large convenience factor here. Keeping that in mind when crafting not only our email marketing programs, but our entire purchase experience will keep our customers coming back for more and bringing their friends. And an integral part of bringing your friends is the product review. In our consumer review survey, we learned that roughly 40% of respondents had posted a review. And this was pretty consistent across our age demographics. You would think that maybe it would taper off as you kind of get to the 18 to 24, 65 to 75 section of our respondents. But it was pretty consistent, and with actually 42% of the 35 to 45-year-old group leading the respondents in reporting that they had left a product review. Those surveyed leave good reviews in a 3-to-1 over bad, and based on the answers, it would appear that mediocre products are less likely reviewed, while exceptionally good or bad experiences get posted. So our email marketing jobs aside, definitely take that into consideration the next time you're checking out reviews for an upcoming purchase. So at this point in the age of information, we're well aware that consumer reviews are a large part of the pre-purchase research process. Bizarre Voice's Social Trends report found that 62% of millennial shoppers do their homework and know what they want before they land on your website to make a purchase. 84% of them reported that consumer written reviews were a part of that research. So if it's part of our consumers' research process, why don't we get the ball rolling for them and include or allude to product reviews in our emails? For example, here's an email from JBL that features a super clean design with a very simple addition of some product reviews. Not a lot of meat on it from a review standpoint, and I'm really not sure who Carrie 1960 Fires or Rob Welch 7 are, or if they're even qualified to rate speakers. So maybe not the best selection for the reviews here, but at least we have a good start. And if you happen to have an aggregate review score on like a third-party site, if your product's featured on Amazon, that might give you a little bit more cred in the eyes of your subscriber. So use that if it's available. So that's reviews as it relates to pre-purchase. But to keep that review cycle flowing, we're going to need more reviews. And even though it was a relatively small percentage of the results, 10% of respondents who had posted a review did so at the request of the retailer. So in the event your product or service isn't exceptionally awesome and people aren't flocking to your site to leave a review, you might want to garner some extra reviews with a simple email request. Here are a couple of examples of brands who have implemented rather simple programs to reach out to purchasers, somewhere 10 to 15 days after the shipping confirmation email, asking them to tell others what they thought of the product. And I think here we have Bike Bandit, and they might have a number of different products based on their last purchase, and it reaches out, and they have a pretty good response on this. And again, I guess to provide some more numbers around the importance of customer reviews, here's some more stats from Bazaar Voice and iPerceptions of some research that they had performed. And what's interesting to me is the second half of the Bazaar Voice stats. We've been hearing about increasing conversion rates through consumer reviews, but here they're also tying reviews to larger orders. And I guess this kind of makes sense to me from the perspective that reviews open the door for customers to talk about related items in their review. For example, I was buying a ceiling fan for my kids during the ongoing heat wave we've been having here in San Diego. And as always, I'm reading the reviews to better understand exactly what I'm getting into. And in doing so, I learned that in addition to the fan, I'm going to need an additional bracket and a different light switch to really make the installation complete. And bear in mind that these two items were nowhere in the product recommendations. So in the end, based on these consumer reviews, I ended up purchasing all three items online and saved myself some additional cursing and a trip to Home Depot. So it was a win-win-win from my perspective. In addition to reviews, there are a myriad of other purchase influences, particularly as brands develop more and more channels and touch points to reach their customers. In this section, we'll take a look at how our panel ranked a variety of channels and how we can leverage learnings to build out strategies around acquisition social.
Yep. All right, so in this day and age, there are numerous channels where you can communicate with your subscribers. So while all of them will help you get your word out, the panel believes that emails with discounts influence their purchase decisions most. So with this being said, direct mail, Facebook, Twitter, and other social media platforms still influence subscribers. Make sure you're following up with the members of your team who run these other channels to best collaborate on how to maximize your overall reach here. Your subscribers may not check their email every day, but they may check their Facebook and vice versa. Also, from a subscriber acquisition standpoint, having a sign-up form or text-to-join program could help increase your overall database size through your various marketing channels. So let's take a look at a couple examples of brands that are doing a great job giving subscribers the medium to follow them through multiple channels. So email and social media go hand in hand these days, and KFC does a great job making it easy for their Facebook friends to subscribe to their email program. If subscriber acquisition is one of your main goals, you'll likely have a group of Facebook followers who do not subscribe to your email program. So this can be potentially a subset of loyalists who are quality subscribers. And KFC presents an incentive, which is, exclusive offers here in order to attain more email subscribers. From a tactical standpoint, you can set this up as a separate segment to ensure that you are able to track performance from these subscribers versus your other acquisition sources. Remember, tracking subscribers by acquisition source is incredibly important to see where your optimization opportunities are. So this will allow you to, maybe move your sign-up form on your Facebook page if you don't feel like you're getting enough subscribers. Take a look at month-over-month statistics and overall in order to make sure that you've optimized your full program here. So in reverse, Allen Edmonds does a great job letting subscribers know how they can be connected to the brand. So this email was dedicated to social media with links to connect to Allen Edmonds on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, and YouTube. This is a great idea to extend your overall reach. Your brand loyalists will want to follow you on these different social media platforms, and it allows you to extend your reach, when you have sales. So if your subscribers don't necessarily open all of your emails, they may see the sales on their news feed and Facebook, which keeps your brand top of mind. And lastly here, it's also very fun to see your follower count grow after sending out an email like this. All right, so at this point, we've gone through the different tactics you can employ in order to increase purchases through email, but we've yet to discuss mobile. So the average Blue Hornet client sees anywhere between 45 to 75% of subscribers opening their emails on a mobile device based on, the vertical that you may be in. And this percentage continues to increase year over year. So it's extremely important to take mobile devices into consideration when sending emails so that you can be certain that once a subscriber opens a message, they're happy with the way that the content's being presented. So 38.3% of consumers have made at least one purchase in the last year as a result of a mobile email. As mentioned during our first webinar, smartphones have allowed subscribers to check their email around the clock, and most of them will do so when they have a free moment at work, school, while out shopping, etc. So whether they're just checking their email or they're purchasing online, a catchy and short subject line and relevant content will provide the best foot forward for your subscribers, which ultimately helps them move forward in the purchase process. So, we've done a couple webinars in the past about how important responsive design is to emails. We really can't stress mobile optimized emails enough. According to our consumer survey last year, a significant portion of subscribers who receive an email that does not look good on a mobile device will either delete it or unsubscribe completely. So when we think about the potential amount of lost revenue because of this, it can be a little frightening. So if you have a large mobile audience, make sure that your emails look good on these devices. And, remember, responsive design does take additional resources, and we know that. So another good approach is a mobile-first template that looks good on both a mobile device and a desktop client. This is becoming an increasingly adopted approach to limit resources needed and to rule out the chance of a smartphone's email client not being compatible with responsive design. So here, Slacker Radio completed a responsive design revamp, and subscribers definitely responded to these new templates. We saw a 450% increase in click-throughs on emails sent with the new design when comparing them to the non-responsive email. In this case, every percentage counts as you're ultimately having more people click through to your site, which gets you that much closer to having them complete a purchase. Relevant content is another way to increase the chance that a consumer will purchase after seeing an email on a mobile device. One of the easiest ways to present relevant content to subscribers is through lifecycle messaging. So abandoned cart emails can provide your brand with increased conversion rates. Although best practices for when to send these emails range based on different products and price points, for the most part, additional abandoned cart messages can be sent hours or days after your subscriber abandons your site. So considering that they may not be by a computer when this email is sent, it's safe to say that they may receive the follow-up email on your mobile device. So this can act as a secondary reminder, alerting the subscriber to go back and purchase your products. Old Navy does this well, sending an email 24 hours after site abandonment. Another step that you could add to this type of email would be tags on the bottom that pull in current sales information. This can further help with the conversion here.
Absolutely. Another great way to include relevant data in a mobile world is geotargeting. There's a lot of great companies out there that could use the IP of wherever you're opening on your device and provide, extremely geotargeted down to the street corner of information. So
yeah, it's great for brick and mortar locations because you don't necessarily have to have the state or city in the subscriber profile, but it's basically is there a brick and mortar location where the subscriber is opening their email at every point. Right. So transactional emails are another great way to increase conversion, and surprisingly, many of these messages are likely to be viewed on a mobile device. In past webinars, we've discussed the importance of product recommendations within transactional messages. And remember, per can spam, you do have a little bit of space that you can use for promotional messaging. We find that product recommendations within these messages prove to increase the chance of a subscriber purchasing again. And while the order confirmation may reach the subscriber on a desktop if that's where they purchase, the shipping confirmation may reach them on a mobile device. So let's take a closer look at the 3 emails we have here on the screen and how these brands leverage Promotional Space. So while all 3 of these brands use Promotional Space in a different way, implementing one of these will definitely help increase transactional revenue. So on the left, Sephora utilizes their space by leveraging the What's New section, giving subscribers the opportunity to take a look at their latest products. In the middle, Lenovo leverages products, but the key here is that the 3 static items you see are presented no matter what you purchase. And lastly, on the right, our favorite and recommendation would be Williams-Sonoma, as they provide products based on the behavior of that particular subscriber. So each product listed here is based on an algorithm which increases the chance of a subscriber clicking through and making another purchase. So while all of these examples can increase your revenue, if you do have product recommendations on your website, we highly recommend leveraging this within your transactional emails. It's very easy to set up by just adding a tag to these emails, and we've seen clients who've implemented this see about 80 to 85% of their transactional revenue coming from these product recommendations. Lastly, just remember, transactional emails have a high open rate, so leverage the space that you have to encourage subscribers to purchase again.
Yeah, one of our favorite metrics to review when we're working with clients is that mix of promotional lifecycle and transactional volume, and then comparing that to what that looks like from a revenue generating standpoint. And it's more often than not, it seems like there's a lot of money being left on the table with people not optimizing their transactional messages. And you do have an upwards of like 20, 25%, don't quote me on that, to use promotional messages. So, take advantage of those high open rates and see if you could get some repeat purchases.
Absolutely. All right, so while we just went through ways to increase the chance of a subscriber purchasing by looking at an email on a mobile device, we also asked our panel how often they used a mobile device to redeem a discount or a coupon. So just like the last question, a little over 38% of subscribers have purchased on their mobile device by redeeming a coupon in the last 12 months. While presenting relevant content in the email itself is important, your mobile site and checkout process is just as important to increase the chance that your subscriber will purchase versus getting frustrated with the process.
Absolutely. And sometimes all the opens and clicks of a well-executed email can be for naught if the web experience isn't optimized. You could have an eye-catching subject line that earns the open, then have a well-crafted creative and call to action to garner the click. But if the landing page and subsequent shopping cart flow aren't optimized for email, then you could be left with a significant amount of abandoned carts. So to ensure you're optimized for the 40% and growing mobile purchasers, you'll need to reevaluate your purchase experience to ensure you're making it as easy as possible to complete the transaction. Here's a great example of a brand who has optimized their mobile experience from email to checkout. Brighton. So working from left to right here, we have the mobile-friendly email. And while there are some things that I might optimize or test around, such as the nav bar or something, the hero image and call to action are nice, big, and legible, and right at the top of the email, catching your eye. And then once moving from left to right again, you'll click through on the item and see a real clean mobile experience. You have some customization options, etc. But most importantly, there's a nice big add to cart option. Once added, there's an easy, intuitive way to immediately check out and pay, all from your mobile device. And one thing here that would be nice, and I'm not sure if it just wasn't available because the email didn't feature a coupon code, but if there was a particular promo code in the email, I would definitely make sure to pass that code through during click via an append so that there's an auto-population that occurs within that promo code field. It's a win-win for the purchaser from an ease of use and novelty perspective, and a win for you as you get better channel attribution and happier customers in the long run. Speaking of mobile coupons, and as Jess mentioned earlier, we asked our panel, how often have you used your mobile phone to redeem a discount or coupon in the last 12 months? And the percentage of respondents who replied that they had at least once was 38.2%. To me, this question straddles both online and brick-and-mortar coupon redemption, so I'll start with how to leverage this from an online and mobile perspective. And again, piggybacking on what I just mentioned for Brighton, we need to make the coupon code redemption seamless and user-friendly. So have your call to action allude to something like, apply or redeem this discount now, and then have that coupon code passed over on click, and then you don't have to worry about toggling between apps to look up and paste that code from your email into the checkout process. As for brick and mortar redemption, here in this Joanna Fabrics example, Encourage a real-time and eco-friendly response by instructing your customers to bypass their printer and have the clerk scan the QR code or barcode at point of purchase. And again, a brand that does this consistently well is Joann Fabrics. They generate a ton of foot traffic by including scannable barcodes in their email. It's great for tracking and attribution, but kind of bad for the rest of the line who has to wait behind that lady who's fumbling through her emails to find that coupon at the register. So maybe the next step is getting this lady on board with Passbook. Wow, that was quick, and it looks like we've reached the home stretch of our webinar where we're going to summarize some of the key takeaways and then open it up to some questions. So here are our conclusions. So number one, account for as many of the reasons consumers shop online as possible. Coupons and discounts aside, people probably purchase online from your brand for a particular reason or a handful of reasons. So understand what those reasons are and make sure your email program, website, and cart process speak to that. Number two, a majority of online purchasers use product reviews. So give them what they want. Provide the information in your email and on your product pages so that you can convert people in the research phase to purchasers. And of course, when they complete that purchase, ask them to keep that karma cycle flowing and complete their own reviews themselves. Number three, people interact with your brand in a myriad of ways, so leverage each of those channels to build the success of other channels. Use social pages as email acquisition sources, emails to promote social sharing, and surprisingly enough, we learned that direct marketing mail was the third highest ranking on the influence list. So use direct mail to spur a text to join program or encourage people to sign up for your SMS alerts. Lastly, in a mobile world, make sure you're optimizing your entire shopping experience. Don't be satisfied with just your responsive email if it drops your subscriber into a pinch and spread desktop experience on their 5-inch screen. Champion a mobile-friendly, intuitive purchase path for your customers, even if that means collaborating with another department to get it done. And whether it's part of a company-wide initiative or the result of email marketers getting saddled with additional responsibilities and other channels, omni-channel and silo busting is here to stay. And that's it. We're going to open up some questions in a little bit, but we definitely wanted to invite you all to join us for the next two webinars that we're having to complete the 6-part series. We'll be talking about email and mobile devices on the 22nd, and hopefully we'll have someone from our creative team joining us to provide their perspective, so that's always a good time. And on my monitor is really small. On the 5th of November, we'll also be taking a webinar on email, social media, and text messaging. So you could register at that URL below. But before we start taking questions, Emily, did you want to reiterate the Twitter contest again?
So as mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, before we get into questions, it's time for our hashtag 2014 email stats topic. As a reminder, for the second half of our webinar series, we're going to be introducing a competition on Twitter for a chance for you all to win, one lucky winner to win a free email consultation with one of our email experts. You'll walk away 3 to 5 tips on how to optimize your email program based on the 2014 Consumer Views of Email Marketing Trends. It's easy to join, as mentioned. At the conclusion of all remaining webinars, listen for the hashtag 2014 email stats topic. It'll be different for each webinar, so pay close attention. Within 24 hours, tweet your response to @BlueHornetEmail using the hashtag 2014 email stats for a chance to win. As a reminder, you have to tweet a response to all 3 topics, which will be, again, reiterated at the end of each webinar for a chance to win. At the end of the series, we will announce the winner. This week's topic is, what was the most surprising takeaway from today's discussion of consumer purchasing behavior? Be sure to start tweeting.
Thanks, Em. So, questions.
Now we're on to questions. So we have a couple questions that came through while you guys were talking. The first, what recommendations can you provide for subject lines when including offers in email?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we alluded to this a little earlier with the PacSun email, and just looking at it overall, I think taking a look at your mobile audience is kind of a first step. So if you have a larger mobile audience, you want to make sure that your subject line isn't too long, because half the time, if you're putting that offer in there, you may be putting it at the end, and that's getting cut off within a mobile device. So that's kind of one tip that I'd recommend there. And then other than that, I'd A/B test with online only versus, maybe the offer, whether it be free shipping or 20% off, to see, what your subscribers are, more likely to open. In our last webinar series, we discussed, different behavioral information of subscribers.
By demographic, too.
By demographic, but different information by subscribers will lead to them liking different things. So we saw in our last webinar free shipping versus, a percentage off, and we used an age as our kind of factor to look at that. And, the results were interesting to see that, certain age groups liked free shipping versus other age groups like discounts. So I think that there's a lot to test. I'd start small, testing only one thing at a time, and kind of get a testing calendar out, make a couple of different test recommendations on that, and just kind of go from there.
Yeah, and there's always a lot of, do this or do that around subject line. A company that's kind of tried to demystify that a little bit, Alchemy Works just released a website called Touchstone. I don't know if it's still in beta or not, but you go in there and they actually have just a crazy, I don't know if it's like a database of different subject line tests that they've done. So, it's pretty interesting. There is definitely a play on, certain words perform better than others, and, certain age demographics respond better to percentage off versus dollar off. So, again, I think the site's called Touchstone, and recommend you guys checking it out. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. All right, next question. Do you have any examples of a text-to-join program used for acquisition, as you mentioned earlier, or any ideas for how to implement?
Yeah, we work with some partners at Blue Hornet, but I actually have a good example from this weekend. So I was super impressed with the H&M text-to-join program. So I was at the H&M store this weekend, and everywhere within the store, in dressing rooms, right by the cash register, it's, sign up, text your email address, and sign up and receive 10% off right at the register. So it was so great. All of the employees had name tags and had, little things around their necks that had that information on there as well. I asked them, how is that working for you? And they said it works great. Almost everyone who makes a purchase does it. So, you sign up, you give your email address, you text, you get a text back saying 10% off, you show the cashier. And it was great because the follow-ups are then the next day I get a text message from them about their mobile app with, a picture of their mobile app and a link. So it's kind of a different communication channel. And it was really great to see. I'm starting to see more retailers who have brick and mortar stores doing that. If you have direct mail pieces as well, we've seen that from a text to join standpoint, where you text 54321 and your email address to whatever your short code is. But we've seen that on direct mail pieces, and we've seen that do really well. So I think you can place it anywhere.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I think it's nice to hear that a brand's doing that, right? Sometimes people sign up for a text to join engagement, and they expect people to know what their QR code, their smart response or their quick response code or whatever.
Quick
kind of
response.
rambling.
Yeah.
Whatever. But they expect you build it, they will come, and that's not the case. You really need to promote the heck out of it at point of purchase, and it's nice to see that they tied it to an incentive, and that they have it in on their persons, in the dressing rooms, and hanging all over the store. So that's key. Whenever you're doing a text to join, you really need to go the extra mile and put it out everywhere so people know what to do. And I guess that when you're tying it to incentive, particularly, always use that, be able to segment those people out so that you could really understand the value of the people coming in through that acquisition source. Just like anytime you're paying for a lead, you definitely want to see if the return is worth the investment. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they had really good wording because the wording made it sound like you were going to get a code in the text message, and POS is notoriously known for the acquisition source that sees the most invalid addresses coming through. So this kind of increases that number that you're getting from POS, and just the language around, how to text to join made it seem like, oh, I better, I don't know where I'm going to get this coupon. Am I going to get it text back? Are they going to email it to me? So I think you had a better chance of getting either that primary email address or at least one that they're not making up.
Top 3 email addresses, right?
Awesome. All right, so one more question. When talking about optimizing the mobile purchase experience, as you show with the Brighton example, what would you recommend as being the most important factors?
I don't know. For me, it's really just keeping it simple. I know a lot of people want to make things a little bit more difficult than they need to be and offer all the variables and things like that. And those can still be done if you do it, intelligently and elegantly. But, try to keep it nice and simple as possible. If you're using something where you could purchase on your phone, if you have account information that could expedite that purchase process, leverage that. Again, with the example of Indochino, and I don't know, it'd be interesting to see how they do it on mobile, but having those measurements stored in their account profile allows them to say, all right, I want this suit, I want this lining, this cut, and checkout. Potentially it could be that easy, even on a very difficult to purchase product.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's going through the process yourself. So we kind of talked about today how the email is one thing, so responsive design, increasing click-throughs, but that's what the emails will give you. And then there's a whole other side to it, when it comes to the mobile experience. So do you have a mobile site? Do you have a mobile checkout? And how user-friendly are those to go through? Because you may be getting a higher click-through, but a lower conversion because there may be something, that subscribers aren't liking about the mobile site. So, have people, you're very close to your own site and your own process, but go through it. Have people in your family, your friends go through it and see, is this easy to use? Is it easy to navigate? I always find that that's a good way to do things.
Yeah, obviously take a look at your analytics, see where people are dropping off in the process, and if it's, hopefully pretty obvious and you can make some corrections in one page and improve things for yourself.
Yep.
Awesome. I think that's all we have time for today, so thank you all. Thank you, Brian and Jessica, and thanks to everyone for joining us today. If you have any additional questions that we didn't answer today or in general, please feel free to email us at bluehornetcommunications@bluehornet.com. Again, we'll be sending out the recording of this webinar as well as the slides within the next few days. There are 2 more webinars in our series. If you haven't registered for them, you can by going to resources.bluehornet.com/consumerfuse. Our next webinar is Wednesday, October 22nd at 10 a.m. Pacific. We'll be digging into consumer behavior on mobile as it relates to email. Thank you again for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Thanks, everyone.